deport you or expel you, what can you do? I want the world to know that we did not leave Unity Party. Unity Party left us. They put us out. When you work with a group for 6 years, and at the closing moment they tell you we don't want no collaboration with you, that's the biggest betrayal ever. Then they influence us to start the Democratic Alliance. At the conclusion of the day, they said they didn't need the Democratic Alliance again because there was no confusion in the party. They wanted us to form the Democratic Alliance so in the instant when things didn't go well for them, in their party they had a fallback position. The Democratic Alliance. They convinced me and Professor Larry Tupac, we were the two founding leaders of the Democratic Alliance. Until today, they have hijacked the documents for the Democratic Alliance along with the money that was sent to America to help open the account for the Democratic Alliance. My people, you know, and what they do is they have the nerve to get on the social media and try to castigate us, talking about a party of a few. The party of a few, and you still crying behind us, and you say that we're not support you. I want to use this opportunity to let you all know that the executive committee have passed that we no longer support Unity Party. The executive committee made that decision, and we do not no longer support Unity Party. And the reason why is because of how they treated us. Almost 4 of our candidates, they took them away from us. Based on the fact that they're from the same tribe and the same county, they took them away from us. They use tribal pressure. Forces people to leave our party. People we worked with for 6 years were bad enough to go and try to destroy us as a party. But we let them know during this election that we are a force to reckon with. How can you be so evil? We spend our time, our energy, our resources on you for 6 years. And 1 or 2 legislative seats, you fight us. You take it away. You take away our candidates that we have nurtured and made strong over the years. You take tribal thing and you put it behind them, force them to join your party. I want the world to know that we're not stupid. And we will never be used that way again. You know, there's a common saying
of the Farmington River Declaration last month. These signatories made a clear commitment to prevent violence, cooperate with law enforcement agencies, expand voter education, avoid inflammatory language and disinformation, and accept the official election results, among many other elements. My congratulations come, however, with a caveat. Going forward, I expect all parties to avoid a repeat of the nonsense that we saw 2 weeks ago with the interruption of church services. The political disruption was completely unacceptable, And to the political leaders, let us say this. If your signature means anything, we depend on your honor to uphold those high standards invoked in the Declaration. So, starting from this very moment forward, come on guys, you signed it, now it's time to uphold it. The true test of this commitment will be the execution of a free, fair, transparent, and peaceful election process. So again, this begins right now. It doesn't begin 2 weeks before the election or whatever. Over the next 19 weeks. Free, fair, transparent, and peaceful. I urge media institutions and integrity organizations to keep politicians of all parties accountable to their important declaration commitments, rather than simply reporting on the horse race and who's ahead and what's, ask politicians the tough questions about their platforms and their records. Shed light on party inconsistencies and remind the public what they stand to gain or lose in the lead up to October. It's not easy, but your efforts to hold politicians and government officials accountable are critical to upholding Liberia's democracy, and I salute you for it. Like many Liberians, including the Minister of Justice.
To Liberia now, where tongues have been set wagging after the defendants in a high-stakes drug smuggling trial were acquitted following a trial. That's despite what many, including the government, believe is compelling evidence. The 4 men were charged with smuggling $100 million worth of cocaine into the country, making it one of the largest drug-related cases in Liberia's history. The court has also ruled that the $200,000 that was seized from the men by the Liberian government be returned to them. Let's get more on this fascinating story now. I'm joined by Liberian journalist Rodney K. He's actually traveling in the United States at the moment and joins us from Tampa, Florida. Rodney, please give us some background into this story.
Well, Peter, this is a very shocking time for Liberia. This is a case that when it happened a few months ago, the U.S. government had people on the scene of the arrest and the seizure of the drugs. There were witnesses, there were recordings, there were video recordings, everything. And so yesterday, when the court came down with the verdict, the whole country went in uproar because this is very shocking to everybody.
So how did the jury reach this verdict? Because I'm told that's an open secret in Liberia.
Well, prior to the jury going into session, the judge instructed them that if the verdict was not guilty, that they will have to, the government will have to pay the money back to the drug suspects. And this was a sign of influencing the jury in the sense of the justice minister, who told me this morning that he was very, very shocked about the verdict, that he's sad about it. He's going to, in fact, make an appeal to the Supreme Court and have the guys rearrested. However, we just got word an hour ago that the minister told me that they cannot find the suspects anymore. So probably they have fled the country.
Because, I mean, not all those suspects were Liberian citizens. I think only one of the 4 who appeared in court was a Liberian citizen. I mean, it's got Liberians talking. It's also got the government steaming mad. What are people saying?
Well, people are shocked. I spoke to a lot of people this morning. I spoke to government officials who are very concerned that this could have a bad light on the country's image internationally. I spoke to some U.S. government officials in the embassy in Liberia who told me, frankly, that they will try to arrest these guys to leave the country. And now that they left the country, I think that you're going to see a lot of international pressure on the government. This case was handled properly. In previous U.S. State Department reports, we've seen attacks on the government image regarding the judicial system, that it's not fair, that judges are being bribed, jurors are being bribed. So this is a case where it has a lot of international repercussions for the country.
Indeed, you talk about international impacts for Liberia. Liberia is surrounded by some fragile states like Guinea and Sierra Leone that have also been known as drug smuggling routes. What are the implications of this verdict on other countries?
Well, what this says is that Liberia's judicial system is not good. It says that if this verdict goes the way it went in other countries, we're going to see a lot of drug smugglers using Africa, West Africa, as a transit point. And that's why it's important for Liberia to set examples for other countries to follow, because this was the biggest drug bust in the country's history. We're talking about $100 million worth of cocaine that was apprehended and people were arrested in the presence of international observers, in the presence of the U.S. Embassy in the country. This is very, very shocking. It's very degrading for Liberia's image.
Fascinating story indeed. Rodney Sear, the Liberian journalist who's actually speaking to us from Tampa, Florida in the United States. Thank you very much.
Stormy and everything is coming to collapse. She said, you'll be calm, it will be okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
John Weir, in the first time he had made about 20 music. Hello? Hello? John Weir has made about 20 music. John Weir gets on the plane anytime he wants to go and stays anytime he wants to come back. And John Weir said it is okay. Yeah. If you give him second turn, he will make 30 music because he will say you were enjoying the first set of music. The only thing, however, George Weah has told me, without speaking to me directly, that Dylan, you please look at me, Samuel Twain, and putting me on a hostage. You look at me and know my body language saying, you're going to put me back over there, I beg you. Let's rescue the man.
Yeah.
Two armed robbers enter a couple's home, tie the wife, tie the children, and say, Mr. My friend, one of us will go with you to the bank so you can withdraw money and give it to us. My friend will stay here with your wife and your children. If you attempt anything outside there, I will signal to my friend to kill your wife and your children. So you get it from me, let's go to the bank, you are normal to withdraw and give it to me. When I get it, I will tell my man to leave your wife and your children. And that man, on a hostage, goes to the bank and he's looking at the teller without talking, wishing that the teller is smart to know that withdrawal is not normal. That man can't report to the teller or the police because his wife and his children are in danger. So the only thing he's hoping for is the teller to just look at his body, the language that they withdraw here. It's not normal. John Weir is the one at the bank. Now you're the teller. You're the teller to look at Weir. Now there's you the Nigerian people. You the teller. John Weir is saying, you please look at me.
They are implementing to the fullest. President, we are over the last few years, especially in the 2020 by-elections, all the people got support for the president, even though they were opposition. They might necessarily do that for anybody or they Joseph boycott. It was a close government that couldn't deal with the people they know. And everybody knows that. President Weir has always gone beyond the ordinary. When you say, oh, we need everybody, let everybody come. I even want to start calling some names, or then I was making noise yesterday that God support for the president. That they are elected today. His point was, not even Jim Bunny won. All of they got money for the president. That's what they see.
Dennis, Joe coming. CEO live flex, speak out of song. Using data, using free basic. Out of fact, my green let's stay on. Go on store by your first one and juice it. Et where I son don. Go to catering school say you do say. But you ever the roast come up on. Now they know how you know oh Jimmy. Since I know how you know oh Jimmy. Where I know how you know oh Jimmy. Papa know how you know oh Jimmy. Mama know how you know oh Jimmy. We all know say you know oh Jimmy. I they know how you know oh Jimmy. Mama know how you know oh Jimmy. We all know say you know oh. You 18 every day, you rust till I woke up. Hey, you tell her she woke up. I she let BB mention I love for your uncle. One knows they just got a single. One knows they follow that joker. One know go back and pick up. One knows they twist her single. One know a shot. One know the baby she get far. Every day you want to talk to your friend. One know the score for 10. Like one day you know you are rules so sent. And they came out like Jeff on the sister. Like one day you know she get fan you or pesa. Man I know how you check you pizza. But today you 40 na isa. Hey you to she pay in her old school, the young girl go there, she let her in her old school. And now why you go tell her? She working for you and what more they can't pay her. How close you can wear, they can't pay her. Dollar go Jeff in the armor to kill. Police say, but saw me the jail. Now they know how you know her, oh Jimmy. Sister know how you know her, oh Jimmy. Brother know how you know her, oh Jimmy. Papa know how you know her, oh Jimmy. Mama know how you know her, oh Jimmy. You all know say you know her, oh Jimmy. I they know how you know her, oh Jimmy. Mama know how you know her, oh Jimmy. Papa know her kind of time. Everybody in real story in your farm. One over portrait and ram. You jump and I'm better than people like Sam. You man, you won't be in a phrase. I only you know to that till I say. I see why you looking at this. And more to move for you beautiful yes. One over politics. One over someone to put in a property. One over calamity. One over the left like we live in a vanity. Says you know all, then answer the question when lap out phone. When they lie, hostel phone. Answer my question. When talk your phone. When black boy and duster phone. Answer the question. When pencil phone. When flabbies are laughing or gene. Answer the question. Using data, using free basic. Out of fact, my green let's stay on. Go on store by your first one and juice it. Et where I son don. Go to catering school say you do say. Or you ever the roast come up on. Now they know how you know oh Jimmy. Sister know how you know oh Jimmy. Brother know how you know oh Jimmy. Papa know how you know oh Jimmy. Mama know how you know oh Jimmy. We all know say you know oh Jimmy. I they know how you know oh Jimmy. Mama know how you know oh Jimmy. Dennis, Joe coming. Yeah. Oh Jimmy. Beat.
Joanna do anything for me. Joanna take me go Paris. Joanna give me everything, baby. Joanna do anything for me. Joanna take me go Paris. Joanna give me everything, baby. And when you put up in a rover, girl you are sent by Jehovah, making me shout hallelujah, oh, baby. And when you put up in a rover, girl you are sent by Jehovah, making me sing hallelujah, oh, baby. Yeah, yeah. You, only you, baby. You, only you, baby. You, Kitty Happy that she thank God for me. Joanna, you mean so much to me, baby. Joanna, baby, mama, me. Other you me say that damn you. Bra, come to me, baby. Anytime she come, I na 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 na. She rise up Jarido, banana. Let me go tell mama right na 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 na. Because I love you for life, like na na na. When she come, I na 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 na. She rise up Jarido, banana. Let me go tell mama right na 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 na. Because I love you for life, like na 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 na. Yeah, yeah. You, only you, baby. You, only you, baby. You, Kidija, 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 ja, 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 Kidija, Kidija, ja, 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 Kidija, 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 ja, 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 Kidija, Kidija, ja, ja.
Dama, share on your share, oh my oh. Been care with me as soon as you tell oh. They pour out all your food. I didn't have a reason to leave you, show me the way, and I'm grateful for everything that you did. You never ever play me low. See, I'm not worthy of your grace. I'm not worthy of your blessings. Stay, you not close me, oh. Say you not give up on me. I call you my doctor, my bro, my brappy, oh. See your man, let's go, let go more. Nangla, you hella bo. Let call you Elohim, yes, what tato. Like you, le one can win all the battle. You give me more reason to pray. God don't give up on me. 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 Don't give up on me. You told me not to worry. Wish you give you thanks and praise. I capele kuwa spell. Me I understand the trail. Me I give it all to you. Give it all to you. And I got friend to say. Glipper, you lead the way. You told me call on you, call on you, call on you. I just need to kneel and pray. Like you get it final say, oh. God don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. God don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. God don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. God don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. See, God don't give up on me. I beg you, don't give up on me. Please don't give up on me. Don't give up on me.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon. Let me say welcome to the Diaspora Talk, provided where you are listening from. Let me say good morning to you. If you are in the US, a good afternoon. If you are in Liberia, let me say good evening to you if you are in China and South Korea, because it's already evening hours here. This is the Diaspora Talk, where we discuss issue of concern. We discuss issue unbiasedly, uncensoredly, and we discuss issues that affect the growth and progress of Liberia. So let me say good morning to you. Let me say good morning to our CEO, Mr. Thomas from the US. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning, Gabriel. Good morning to our guests. Welcome on the Diaspora Talk. It is great to be here today. Today is another Sunday, and I know we have a lot of fascinating discussions to be going on. But again, it's good to be here. I always say, once you have life, it's one of the biggest gifts to keep moving. Thank you, Gabriel.
Sure. So let me say good afternoon to you, Mr. Johnny K. Ndebe. You are there from Liberia. Let me say good afternoon to you and welcome again to the Diaspora Talk. And hopefully we are going to have a very good discussion this time around. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to everyone. We are glad that today we have the opportunity to be with you. We tried last Sunday due to the technological problem. We were unable to do this, but I'm hoping that today we'll have a better internet facility and then we can do this discussion. And let me say thanks to all of you for having this platform established. I think you guys are doing well for Liberian people and the general population of the world to know what's happening in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, let's just take a break. We'll be right back. If you are listening to us, if you are joining us through the internet, let me say stick and stay. This is the Diaspora Talk. This is where we discuss issue uncensoredly, unbiasedly. And we'll be right back after this break. Don't go away.
Legitimate financial institutions around the world. Corruption is a social danger because it feeds organized crime. It destroys nation states. It imperils opportunities, particularly for women and girls. It facilitates environmental degradation, contributes to human trafficking, and undermines whole communities. It destroys the future. Corruption is a radicalizer because it destroys faith in legitimate authority. It opens up a vacuum which allows the predators to move in. And no one knows that better than the violent extremist groups who regularly use corruption as a recruitment tool. Corruption is an opportunity destroyer because it discourages honest and accountable investment. It makes businesses more expensive to operate. It drives up the cost of public services for local taxpayers, and it turns a nation's entire budget into a feeding trough for the privileged few. And that is why it is imperative that the business community of the world starts to demand a different standard of behavior, that we deepen the fight against corruption, making it a first-order national security priority.
Liberia, 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 Liberia is my home. Liberia is my home.
To have a better government, we need a good voice to checkmate the workings of the government, better rural connectivity, good health system, improved technology system, food security, and many more. Why not join a team of professional panelists of the premier Asia platform, the Diaspora Talk, this and every Sunday at 12 p.m. Liberia time as we dig deeper in the hidden agenda of Liberia. The Diaspora Talk is a platform that consists of conscious-minded Liberians based in different countries across the globe, meeting under one umbrella to discuss the format of their beloved Mama Liberia. On the Diaspora Talk, we promote your business, so come and join us. Let's connect you with the right customers. At the Diaspora Talk, we talk the talk. We talk to shift Liberia. Join us and be open.
Okay, today is the 23rd of July 2023, and we are just few days away. I mean, it is some more days to the most anticipated October 10th, 2023. Once again, Mr. David, I would like to welcome you to the Diaspora Talk. And I would just like you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us, where you are from, the interest you are actually offering, and why are you here today?
Okay, so thank you so much again. Like my name is Johnny Kwebli Moniba Ndebe. I think if you understand the anthropology of Liberia, you know that this name comes from obviously Lofa County. My both parents are from Lofa. My father is Bandi. My mother is Loma. For my own information, I was born in like 50% raised in Lofa, and the rest of it I was raised in Morovia and part of Bon Mines. And I graduated from the Bontown High School in 1989. I enrolled at the university, and due to the conflict, the civil conflict, that brought about a temporary stop into my political, my academic sojourn. And during the war, we worked. I went back to Lofa, served as a father and as a leader of my family. I being the firstborn, I had to go back, like making farm, particularly being a farmer again, to ensure that my parents were taken care of. And then eventually, at some point, I came into conflict with some of the MPFL guys, and that moved me into. I mean, that story is a long story. We don't have that platform to. We don't have the luxury of time to go through that. But I moved into Banga, and when I moved to Banga somewhere around 1992, and then I came in contact with some of my friends, and I became part of the MPFL security force, and I moved to Morovia, 1996, 97, around then until I won the election. And I served in the security sector for about 6-7 years. And upon the takeover of the government by Madam Salif, and due to their own system, and we had to be like trapped for some reason, which was for me, which was something that was good for me because then it gave me ample time to do my schooling and continue. So I was in the security sector and also attend the University of Liberia. And somewhere around 2008 and 9, I graduated from the university with a bachelor's in sociology and demography. I worked for a few years. I went back to the university and earned a master's in regional science. And I've worked for the last 15 plus years for the Carter Center as a project manager. And now I'm playing active political role with Liberian National Union. In fact, in 2020, I contested the senatorial seat in Lofa. I did not win, but we are staying in the system. And so this year I'm not contesting, but I'm seriously and hugely supporting the presidential candidate of Dr. Clarence K. Moniba and Madam Grace Kline. For the matter of fact, in the Liberian National Union, I am not member of the executive committee, but I'm considered as an eminent partisan. So I play active role in what is unfolding in the Liberian National Union. And currently, I'm serving as the national chair. I'm the vice chair for operation for the national campaign team of the Clarence K. Moniba and Grace Kline. So just to give a brief background where I come from, that's where I am.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, that's a serious. I mean, it just shows how passionate you are, and you are goal driven, self motivated, and real passionate. I mean, there are a lot of things we can learn from there, and I hope those who are listening can actually attest to this. So, can you please share the show as well? If you are from LINU, that is LINU. I mean, there's a place to be right now because we have someone representing your party. I think you would like to kind of corroborate some of the things he's going to be saying here. And also, if you are from the other political divide or if you are from other political parties, you can also come here. And if you are watching, or let me say, just share the show so we can just reach our audience and that all can just learn from this. So again, I would like to say welcome. From your elaboration, I heard that you were dropped from the security force. Which security force is that? Is it the AFL or which I want you to be a little bit specific. You are muted.
That was the SSS. the Special Security Service. There's a team that responded to protect the presidency of Liberia.
Oh, okay. All right. So, okay, thank you so much. So, right now, you are a politician, and there's no way you can detach yourself from that. You are a politician. You contested before. So, you are still, one way or the other, you still want to leash on government money. You are in the SLS being paid by government, and you want to, rebound and go for a higher seat. But my question to you here today, you said you are a hierarchy within LINU. What is really about Mr. Clarence K. Moniba that, you left almost all of the, politicians, you left all of the aspirant, according to NEC, I will have more than, I think, 15 candidates. I stand to be corrected. And yeah, you just left all of them and you go behind Mr. Clarence K. Moniba, who is, I think, the youngest within this particular race. What is so much about his political his political career, his political criteria that really attracted you to him? And why do you think he can become a very good leader of Liberia at this particular troubling time where the economy is in tatters? We have to look at so many things, drugs in the street. This kind of young man, you want to entrust him with this, with our country. Why you think he can do the job?
All right, so thank you, Gabriel. Dr. Clarence K. Moniba belong to your generation, all of us. I'm older than him, like a few years, but from the look of you and your brother Moses, is it Masakwe?
Yeah, Timas.
Yeah, you and Timas, you all belong to the generation of Dr. Clarence K. Moniba. Dr. Moniba is not just a young man, but he's a young man that is well disciplined, trained, organized, educated, with the character, and he has also the experience of working in government. For a matter of fact, he served close to, I think, 7 to 10 years with Madame Salif regime in government. He has the experience of working in the international community. He worked with World Bank as a consultant on fragile justice. He worked with African Development Bank. He served at the Liberian Embassy and also Liberian UN mission at a very young age, tender age. You remember that's close to 10 years back. So if Clarence Moniba is 44 now, that's like you're probably around 33, 34 when he started to serve in those capacities as a young man who was entrusted with lots and lots of responsibilities at those places. And due to his quality of work at World Bank and those other international organizations, and he was asked by Madame Salif to come and support her government in Liberia. He wasn't a member of the Unity Party. He did not come down to campaign with Madame Salif, but Madame Salif elected to take him over because of his qualities that he has, and the role he played at those agencies where he worked before. And so Dr. Moniba, he has the educational credential. If you check his profile, you go online, you find check the profile. Probably among the 20 candidates among the 20 candidates in the presidential election, he probably could be the most educated by way of academic credentials. He holds 2 masters, several AA degrees, and a PhD. And he has a very strong relationship with some of the world leaders, some of the actors of the global community. You imagine 10 years or 14 years ago, he was in the circle of international, global politics or global development community. So with those connections that Dr. Moniba has, we believe as a young man, if Liberian people realize that we want to move this country forward, Dr. Moniba is probably the best candidate in this election. And he has all that it takes to take a country from the current condition that we all know of and move forward. He has a very strong capacity to negotiate. He has an understanding of the Liberian problem. He knows how to project the Liberian people problem out there. He knows how to address the issues internally. He knows how to even form a government that will be a government of teamwork, that
Okay.
every hand will be on show that Liberia
Thank you.
moves forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know you have so much on your book, but before you really dive deep into this, I would like my brother and friend Timas to actually ask you a question. Yeah, Timas, I think you listened to Mr. Ndebe. He just articulated why we should actually entrust this country to Mr. Clarence Moniba. I don't know why you pick up something from his deliberation and want to ask him.
Yes. Thank you, Gabriel. Again, thank you, my brother, Mr. Nambi, Debbie. Um, I'm a little lost with that last name. That's
Actually, you can say Ndebe.
Debbie, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, it means catfish in Bandi. It means catfish.
Debbie.
Okay,
Debbie.
Ndebe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you speak well, you call me Tenyen. So you call me Ku. If you speak you or Kran, you call me Pelia or Po or Kwanle. So my
Wow.
name is. I know I've worked across the 15 counties in Liberia, so I try to say hello in each of the languages.
Ah, okay.
That's good.
Okay. You are
Yes.
very, yeah, quiet.
Let's go back to the discussion. So, Mr. Debbie, this is the political season of Liberia, and I want to thank you for coming on. And I've been seeing Dr. Clarence Mova. I know he's not somebody who's widely known in Liberia when it comes to politics. He's been like very um, low profile, I would say, undercover. But what are some of those strides that you guys are making in terms of reaching out to the Liberian people, in terms of selling Dr. Moniba to the Liberian people and giving his platform to the people and telling them what his intentions are for the country, what are things he intends to do differently from what we have been seeing over the time? Can you elaborate on some of those plans and vision of Dr. Moniba for Liberia? Thank you.
So yeah, thank you, Timas. Let me take you to the issue of Liberian budget. The Liberian budget is key to our development and growth as a nation. That's a national cake. The history is that the Liberian budget has always been drafted from Monrovia, from central government, from the Ministry of Finance. For Dr. Moniba as a young man, the vision he comes with to address the issue of development with regard to the budget is that we are going to ensure that the national budget derived from the counties. So we gather its experts, economic and financial experts, look at the issues of the counties and derive the budget of Liberia from the county. So we have a county perspective of the budget, meaning the 15 counties will draw up the budget, scrutinize their own budget, include the revenue annual part of the budget, include the expenditure part of the budget, and what the budget will be doing for them. In this case, it will be erasing the issue of county development fund every year in the budget. So if the 15 counties draw up their budget and see the revenue part of the county budget and look at the national revenue intake, then we come to the point where now we develop the national budget. So in short, if you say national, it must derive from the people. So Dr. Moniba and his team are concerned that we are going to bring this revolution in our national development plan by ensuring that the national budget of Liberia is derived from the counties. And then from the county, it considers the districts, the clans, the chiefdoms, so that everyone kind of feel the impact of the budget. So you know what I mean? To get sit in Monrovia and draw a budget, and then you can decide what goes to Lofa, what goes to Nima, what goes to Granjide. No, that's not going to work. And that's not going to ever help to improve agriculture, improve the development agenda of the country. So if every county develop their own budget, include the development needs, include the revenue collection into that budget, then of course Liberia is going to move faster. I'm sure that makes sense to two of you and those that listen to this platform. And this will be a strange thing for most Liberians because what we are used to here is that the national budget is made from Monrovia, from the office of the finance minister. Then all the ministries stay in Monrovia, draw the budget and present it to the finance ministry, then they combine it into national budget. For the Clarence K. Moniba, that's not the case. We are going to go down to the county. Every county will develop budget for health, for agriculture, for education, for every aspect. And that will build the national budget for Liberia. Another aspect of it also that agriculture is key to our economy, to our survival as a people, right? So in the first low-hanging fruit for this young men at Moniba to begin to look at agriculture is ensure that we intersperse agriculture with the school feeding program, meaning no international NGO will be importing food from any country to feed our kids in school. We're going to insist on international NGOs doing school feeding program and even the national government school feeding program will be tapping on the local Liberian food production. So our young people will be going to school and eating what is grown from Liberia. That's the first step. In this case, it gives a direct impact on the agricultural sector, meaning family members who are doing agriculture will now begin to have some level of family income generation. You imagine if you got to feed maybe 10,000 students every day across the length and breadth of Liberia with cassava, with edo, with rice, with plantain, with just what we grow in Liberia. You know what that means to the local producers? Immediately, farmers will begin to improve on their production. That's the first part of that. The Moniba, respond to agriculture and feeding and food security.
Okay.
The middle thing
Thank you.
will be to now begin to and find the experts that will do soil testing in every region of Liberia to know which part of this country has a better soil that will produce rice, produce edo, produce plantain, produce cocoa, produce palm, so that we put Liberia into agricultural production zones. So let me
Thank
start
you.
on these two key, and as we discuss, we'll provide more information.
Thank you so much. That is Mr. Ndebe there from LINU of Mr. Clarence Moniba or Kennedy Clarence Moniba. So let me say, if you are listening to us, let me say this is the Diaspora Talk. We are a global platform. We have our CEO there, Mr. Ibrahim T. Massaquoi in the US. We have our chairman, Mr. Ibrahim Lincoln Mackey. He's in Canada. And I'm Gabriel Massaquoi. I'm in South Korea. So this what makes global. And very soon we'll be having our correspondent in Liberia to be bringing our day-to-day, activities that happen in the country. So we are here and we are not growing right now. Let me say stick and stay. So my question to you before I come to Mr. Ibrahim Lincoln Mackey, who just joined us. Mostly Liberians are driven by infrastructure. I mean, we understand, Mr. Let's say your candidate has, the intellectual ability. He is well versed within administration. I think he served as Minister of State with a portfolio under Ellen Johnson's government, and he has a master, a doctorate degree, which makes him one of the highly competent candidates in this race. But again, when it comes to tangibility, what are those tangible things he has done? Because the Liberian voters are infrastructurally driven. They want to know, the roads you have built, the hospital you have that are taking care of the less privileged. Now, right now, we have a lot of wayward children. I call them wayward children because, let me not say wayward children. Some people who are just, we call them less privileged or underprivileged, they are taking drugs. What is Modiba actually doing about this? Does he have something like Dara still on to actually cater to them? Like something to take them into rehabilitation home? Is he planning that? What are his plans? Let's talk about infrastructure. Let's forget about the theoretical aspect, the intellectual aspect, and we'll deal about the physical issue.
Okay, so Dr. Moniba's vision for young people is firstly to ensure that our educational system is highly, it is supported to the point where every high school has 3 prepared instructors, and the instructors are up to standard. So he intends to have a generation of young people coming out of high school with a minimum of a certificate in academic and a certificate in trade, some vocational skill. That's one. The second thing, the issue of addressing young people that we call Zogo in Liberia or that we call wayward or disadvantaged youth, they have, that the Moniba plan for them is to firstly see that we will soon gather them. Look, to build a rehab home is something that can be done by government. But in his case, these guys are not to the point where they have lost everything in life. All they need is to accommodate them into society by giving them the opportunity to put their skills and knowledge into use legally and legitimately, so that they can be a help to the state. They can be a help to the nation building process. So these young men and women, while we have all the young men and women, when we are doing road construction work, we have foreigners, Chinese, and other people doing some work that Liberians can do. So these young people have a lot of capacity. So we have for Dr. Moniba currently, he has been providing academic support to school going kids in high schools, in elementary schools, and to by extension in some universities. You understand? He has been doing that. In fact, he has this Moniba Foundation. Since he returned to Liberia around 2010, 2011, he organized a foundation in his father's name called the Moniba Foundation. This foundation has been providing academic support to students, paying school fee for some students, and they have been providing seeds for farmers, some agricultural people.
Can you please be specific and name some of the schools? Probably people here will actually try to authenticate it.
Well, I wouldn't be. I don't want to be. I don't want to mislead the population. I don't have the name of the schools now, so I can try after here. I will link up with the management of the foundation, and then I can have the profile of those schools, and I can share with you through subsequent emails, so that even if I'm not on the show, you can provide the information to the public, so that the public will not see me as giving you false information, and then I will also help to keep the credibility of this platform. But I don't want to tell you. I don't want to call names here that I cannot be sure of. So because the foundation is managed by another team, so I will work with them in the next few hours after here to get the name of those schools, and then I will tell you which schools we have our case that were sponsored by Dr. Moniba over the years since he's been in the country.
All right, thank you so much. Now, Mr. Marquez, do you have any question? I think you have been listening.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriel. Good morning there to you guys, our guests, T-Max and you, Gabriel, and those following us here on our platform. You know, it's bad for me a lot when I see a lot of people being involved in the political, space of our country, and looking at a country that have less than 5 million people and seeing close to 20 presidential candidates, my brother. Second. But let me just go first to ask a question to our guest, because I trust me, this is going to be highly interactive. I got a lot of questions to ask him. And I'm not still yet convinced that this young man who happens to be his candidate that he's trying to push on this platform is the right man for our country. But can you please help us with some of the major policy that Mr. Moniba has on the table? Because, I hear politicians say, oh, they're going to build a recreation center for the Liberian people. They're going to do this. Like CC right now trying to boast a road they are building. Those are Liberian people money. Do something for the Liberian people out of their budget. Come up with policy that will help to improve the life of the people. Come up with policies that would at least help to make a Liberian to be able to make $150, $200 US per month. Come up with policy that will try to stop mob violence in our country. Don't come tell the Liberian people, say you will build roads, you do this. Not your money, not the money. So when I hear these things then from politicians, I just laugh. But can you please outline some of the major policy that your candidate have on the table that are going to help to improve the life of our people back home? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I've been on the show. I've not said that we're going to build roads as an individual. And let me just make some clarification. We, from a sociological background, every society has 5 institutions. We have the family, the religion, the education, the politics, and the economics. Now, politics is the institution of society that is responsible to provide leadership and shape the activities of society in a way that the family, the religion, the education, and the economy will flourish for the good of society. So when I say government, it means politics. That's the first thing you need to understand when you talk about politics generally across the world. So the political field is where we are in now. You spoke about why we have 20% seeking. It should not be seeking. When you keep a people in a certain situation for a long period of time, and when you expose them to what they want, everyone will have different objectives, different views. We know from a perspective as a sociologist, over the next few decades, as we do politics over and over in Liberia, we start narrowing our ideas. There will be a time that people will start having commonalities of ideas and start forming their alliance on ideology and systems. So currently, I'm not surprised as a sociologist to see 20 candidates or even more candidates, because it's obvious that Liberia has been in darkness for many, many years. We had a lot of struggles in the 60s and 70s and
Mr.
80s.
Guest, can you please just outline those policies that you guys
No,
have on the table?
1 minute. You made a statement. I want to first clarify those things so you understand this situation about politics. Because if you don't understand when you talk about politics and governance, then you'll be asking questions that will not be relevant for this conversation. So I want to give you small background for so you understand what I'm talking about here. Because society needs leadership. And in sociology, government, which is politics, is political institution, is responsible for the governance of society. And if that institution is not properly existing, everything else will fail. The family will not make progress, religion will not make progress, the economy and the education will not make progress. That I want to understand first. So look, Dr. Clarence K. Moniba has policy for each of the sectors. One, we say agriculture. The policy we have for Liberia is we want to ensure that Liberians are self-sufficient and will have food security. It is so bad that you have a country that receives 6 months of rainfall, 6 months of sunshine, and you cannot even export goods, food out of here to other countries. We have countries in the world that hardly get rainfall in 12 months. But meanwhile, they are producing food that we are living on the best soil, we're not producing. That's why you should be saying here that should be making all of us annoyed that we have a country that have good, the necessary ingredient to make agriculture flourish. We have it here, but we don't know why our governments in the past have not seen this as a priority to ensure that we take advantage of this natural gift God has given Liberia and the rest of us around the continent of Africa. So we want to have sufficiency. And I just indicated before you came on that the low-hanging fruit to address agriculture will be, we will ensure that school feeding programs will not be about importing food from out of Liberia. We'll make sure our local food produced in this country will be used for school feeding. So how does that relate to agriculture? If you do that, imagine you are feeding 10,000 students every day, and the food that you feed 10,000 students with come from the local market of our people. That tells you immediately that money will be going in the hands of our farmers, who are our relatives or our family members in the community. And by that, they will begin to even improve on making more farm, bigger farm, because they'll be getting income from the agriculture. That's a low-hanging fruit we see in the process.
Right.
The next thing we want to look at is even the issue of our national budget, which I said, you will not hear me repeat that. Our national budget has always been derived from Morovia, where the ministries, the agencies sit in Morovia and drop the budget for Liberia. A national budget is a national cake that everyone in the country must benefit from. So for Dr. Moniba as a young man, his vision is that we will have every county developing their own national budget, their own county budget, that will consider district, clan, chiefdom, and everybody involved. So whatever the county is raising will be that county revenue into their budget and then the expenditure. So imagine if the 15 counties draw up the county budget and that sum up the national budget, this is going to lead to fast tracking of our development. And this has never happened before in Liberia.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndebe. We have to go to the other guests. But I just listened to what you said, that you are going to prioritize local farmers, and it's going to encourage them. And let me just say this, I align with that, because economically, they say the higher the demand, the higher the supply. So the more we demand from local farmers, the more they will be encouraged, to produce. So let's go to our brother, the Timas. I think you listen to the long deliberation of Mr. Ndebe. Do you pick up something that you would like to ask him?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Gabriel. My brother Debbie, Mr. Debbie, we kind of listened to all of your expose on your candidate and the level of potential that you try to exhibit that this brother has. But over time, my point with most of these opposition political leaders, if you look at Liberia right now, Liberia is hugely occupied with drugs. We see our young people on the streets. There are videos circulating social media with our young people standing and sleeping, banding, sleeping. It's like fun. People laughing about it. I don't remember the time in when Liberia have gotten this worse when it comes to drugs. And in every country, the young people are our future generation. These are the people we prepare to take over when the older generation is moving, is passing on. But today, what I see in Liberia, the young generation is all about drugs. And it is really embarrassing. We look at corruption. Your candidate, again, all of these national issues I have not heard or seen. I stand to be corrected from Dr. Clarence K. Moniba. I've not seen any press conference on these things. None of these candidates are speaking out. We see rampant drugs in the country, corruption. So my question to you is, what are plans as a young man like Dr. Moniba, when he drives the streets of Monrovia or other counties and see young people massively doing drugs on a very high scale in the country, and these people supposed to be in school, supposed to be in some kind of trade school or some learning something, instead they're on the streets doing drugs to the highest extent under this President George Weah government. What is his own plan to combat this drugs issue and corruption? Thank you, Mr. Ndebe.
Okay, so thank you that's a very good question. If I had the time, I would have just gone into that. We have that in our platform for Dr. Moniba to address. Look, right now, Dr. Moniba is working with a lady who is organizing a vacation school for young teenage Liberian, both male and female, that will be doing like 2-3 days of drug prevention and or training or vacation school for young people to first begin to understand the danger of drugs. And he's currently arranging to have about 20 young people in the first class to attend. So that tells you that Dr. Moniba is concerned about the drug issue. And our approach to drug is not just like quick fix. We want to address drug use first from the grassroots. So for what's happening, he has even included that even in schools, in his region as president, we make sure that all schools will have a course or some kind of lecture to the young people in the schools about drugs, drug prevention, and how dangerous drug is. Because these people need to learn these things to understand the danger it has. So currently, maybe he didn't follow. He spoke out sometime like a few weeks ago when we had the issue of this truck that was arrested and those guys were acquitted from the court. It was very alarming that the Moniba was so concerned that to have that kind of quantity of drug come to the country and is arrested, and the government has no evidence to prosecute the case and find the people guilty. It's alarming to him and it's a concern. So he's also concerned a lot about how to address the issue of drugs. And he being in that same age group of those guys that are involved with drugs, it tells you that he's just the right person that need to get involved with leadership and that will bring about the issue and the solution to the drug business. Right now in Duporo, he and I were walking around in the neighborhood and we're talking to young people that we suspect to be around drug or being involved with somebody, petty crimes and things. And we started with them to tell them, gentlemen, what's going on? And you won't believe, locals saw Moniba like themselves. And they were openly telling him why they are what they are and how they are interested in being transformed. So they are looking for people that will come around them to help them transition them from where they are to a better stage. So clearly speaking to you, that the Moniba has a serious objective, serious plan to address the issue of young people. Because if him as a young man is in power as a president and he does nothing to address the issue of drug, I mean, he has failed entirely in his career. He can build all the schools, all the hospitals, and everything. If he failed to address the issue of drug that is considered to him, by him as an emergency, then he has not succeeded at all as a president. So let me let everyone else know that the Moniba is serious. That Moniba and Madam Grace Pan, for a matter of fact, Madam Grace Pan, even before coming to the life now of politics, from 2004, 5, 6 onward, she has been involved with working with street youth, both males and females, and to mobilize them. She had taken someone to school, someone had even attending her church to help to transform them. So Moniba and Pan have a very strong passion for Liberia. They have a strong passion to take young people out of drug. I know even in the best, even in the big countries, it's a challenge for big countries like the US, as so sophisticated, to fight drug. But as a small country we have the opportunity to fight drug even more than the US because our population is smaller. So right now, in our estimate, the young people who find the street as Zogos or whatever, I don't think they're close to 20,000 or 30,000. In my view, it should be around at most 5 to 10,000. So it's easy to address them quickly before we get explosive.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ndebe from LINU. So my question to you is, Liberians are beginning to think that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the former president of Liberia, sabotaged the dream of Joseph Newman Boakai because she didn't want she never wanted to be accounted for all the corruption that happened in her regime, and secondly, she never wanted any brilliant leader that would come and outshine her. So for this reason, she inducted a puppet, someone she can control, and that person is George Weah. So she's also doing this in order to actually sabotage his candidacy or his success or his way of being inducted into or being elected. So the game here is that he's planting some puppet in order. Realistically, they know that they are not going to become president. The numbers are not there. They are not popular, but they are there in order to model the way for Joseph Newman Boakai. And some of these puppets are, I'm sorry if I call them puppets because, that's why people view them as, because they are being controlled by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Number one, Alexander B. Cummings. Number two, Musa Belete, Charlie Bronsky, and also your candidate who worked for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf as presidential something with our portfolio. So I really want to know. I even listened to Darius Dillon. Darius Dillon said Alexander B. Cummings is working for, or he's taking instruction from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. How close is your candidate to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and is he taking instruction from her?
Well, look, this is a question that sometimes I can wonder why people will begin to ask this kind of question. But anyway, this is a political season. Let's discuss it. First day that Moniba was brought to Liberia because of his expertise and his qualities. He didn't beg Madam Sirleaf to say, "I'm looking for a job. Please employ me." He was already in the international development community working as a consultant to IMF and to World Bank and African Development Bank. So by him coming to Liberia to work for the Madam Sirleaf government to serve Liberia, we don't see that as a crime. We never see that as anything wrong. We are proud of that. We really appreciate that Madam Sirleaf invited Moniba to join her regime to serve Liberia. And he did his best to the best of his capacity and ability. His records are there. You check the profile of Dr. Moniba working with Madam Sirleaf. Wherever he worked, wherever he functioned, the records are there. That's why we always say people should go and audit his office. Right. To ask about whether Madam Sirleaf is giving him instruction. Why should Madam Sirleaf give Moniba instruction as though she raised him or she educated him? She has no claim on Moniba. Moniba went to school, got her education, got her qualities, and was working before she only tapped on his intelligence. She tapped on what he has in his head and what he can bring to the table to support her government to succeed at the level she had to succeed. You see? So, if Ellen Sirleaf is in connection with Dr. Moniba, maybe because she is her, or she is her former boss, that would be the case. But I don't think she has anything to do with his presidency. She has no link to him being president. She has no input in him making decision to want to contest presidency. So there is no link between Moniba and Madam Sirleaf in terms of supporting him to contest for presidency.
So, can you agree with me that based on her influence, based on her political status, and also being the former boss of Mr. Moniba, do you agree that she can actually convince Mr. Moniba?
What do you mean convince? To do what?
Some relationship between boss and employer. There might be some level of influence. He can solicit advice from her. He can take, some pieces of advice.
But there is nothing wrong.
Is he okay? Secondly, let me just. Is he talking to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf?
Of course, they are not in dispute. I mean, you expect that this young man was invited to Liberia to come and work on the Manasari, in the Manasari government, and the Manasari government left the
Is he
stage.
an ally to Eli Justice Salif?
Allah in terms of what?
I mean, political allyship. I mean, trying to form some conglomeration in order to disrupt the political field.
No, my brother, look.
Gabriel didn't know what day years earlier, Gabriel.
No.
So even if that is in the team, you will never day here, my brother. So yeah,
Abi. No, Abi. Actually, if we're in this close town, Madam Salim, my brother, that's some things that, you know, I mean, it would have been known. In one thing in Liberia, there's no secret in Liberia. Nothing has in Liberia. You saw the issue of communists and Madam Salim, it came to the public. There's no secret in Liberia. If you know what we are going through as a party, you know, imagine if we're close to Madam Salif, like the way others have exposed themselves, where a lot are being known now that they are in, I mean, they are being exposed to the public that they are in relationship with Madam Salif, and you can see the way they are making progress in their political activity. If we had that link to Madam Salif, then that's a different thing we're talking here. But we don't have that link. Of course, Madam Salif is his former boss. They are not in dispute. They are not in conflict. So, of course, obviously, the courtesy is there. He can visit her. I mean, she could call him and say, I want to speak to you. What's going on? And even if she have an advice to him, of course, she can give it. That's not anything difficult that we can talk about. If that was happening, I will tell you, yes, Madam Salif is providing advancement to us. That's not wrong. Madam Salif is not an evil to Liberia. She's not demon to anybody here. That today, people want to talk about today, they want to say, I didn't buy more when y'all were hating her in 12 years in your country. And when y'all said she was the best Liberian to be president for Liberia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndebe. So let's listen to our brother then, Mr. McKay from Canada.
I mean, I was brother on here. We'll always try to sugarcoat things to try to make his candidate look like the best one. But his candidate served Man Eli all the period of time. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but I want to believe he served for a long period of time. Man Eli said the government one of the most corrupt government in our country. He did not prove himself right to resign from that government so that Liberian people can look at him as an integrated icon. But let me go on to say this, right? These are some of the reasons that some of us, we will not convince people to support, his candidate. I'm being very frank on here. And, perhaps you might feel somehow from the way I talk, but trust me, I'm here for Liberian people. I'm here to convince them the best candidate for our country, Liberia. When I talk about policy at first, policy is where you are. You firstly have to identify the problems. You be able to set up your goals and then how the implementation is going to be like. But we listen to all of these politicians and having similar, driven policy, talk about agriculture and XYZ. Agriculture issue is not one of the major issues in our country. But people fail to realize, for example, look at our labor law. We know that when you have a leader, he have some power in our country to be able to make some influence. People stay making $50 US at the end of the day, at the end of the month in our country. Look at the issue of mob violence in our country. Somebody will yet come from in the corner and say, oh, this person that roll. The next thing you see, they put tire on that person and put fire, and that person is normal. Whether it was a mistake or not, then the aftermath become, oh, we never knew the XYZ. Those things happen in our country for common. You don't see those things that happen in other countries easily. Those are one of the major things that happen in our country that people are overlooking, our leaders are overlooking. But I just want to ask this question again. I will come back to the policy issue. What's the major goal, that you got is actually targeting? Let's leave agriculture out of it. What's your major? Because Joseph Braga talk about agriculture. Alexander coming to talking about agriculture. Let's take agriculture aside from there. What's the major goal? If you want to identify some of the major problems there in our country, let's take away agriculture. Let's take away the issue of the Zogos there, trying to get them off the street. Let's leave all of those things because those, I think, all those, politicians run into simply because they want to get the people on board. Take that one apart. Let's look for some of the other problems that you think is on the table that we all can discuss and see how well we can find a solution to it.
Okay. Are you true, AB?
Yeah, I'm true that, but as you prepare, I also have another question to ask. Go ahead.
Yeah. So AB, the key problem we have now in the country is the economy, and the major part of the economy is unemployment. And there is no way in this third world country that you can solve unemployment without getting involved with agriculture. I've spoken to you, I've told you already, I come from the background of sociology, I'm a social scientist, right? Now, almost Liberia population in rural Liberia, maybe around 80+% of them are living on agriculture. We have an agrarian society in rural Liberia. The first source of in the interior of Liberia, in all the counties, is agriculture. So what that tells all of us here is that agriculture is the first line of job that people already have on hand. Like for me, where I was raised in Lofa, all the school fees that my parents paid for me in Lofa or my grandparents was from farming, from the coffee farm, the sugarcane farm, the pepper farm we made. That's why it is. So there is no way, my brother, you can address unemployment in this third world country without making agriculture a key component of it. For the very fact that Liberians in rural Liberia that carries good number of population are living on agriculture. So we have to address agriculture. That's why Moniba said the low-hanging fruit to create job, to provide income, household income, low-hanging fruit is to insist on our school feeding program to be through agriculture, which is to feed our young people from the locally grown Liberian food. That should make sense to all of us here. I don't know why you don't understand that to be something that is important. But imagine if you are to feed 10,000 students every week or every day, for example, and the food that you will feed them with in the school feeding program comes from Liberian agricultural farm and agricultural producers, farmers. You know what that means? That means those international NGOs that are feeding students from school feeding program, they will not import food from anywhere else, the food from our local farmers. Isn't that going to provide job for people in the community? Isn't that going to create income generation for family members?
Okay, I got my second question.
I don't know why you're saying we should take away agriculture. It cannot be taken away in this situation.
Okay, let me ask my second question quickly, Gabriel, because
ask your second question, then we'll go for a break.
He had driven the already. You see, I like the way you're coming, right? Trust me, I'm not saying that we should get agriculture to part. I'm just saying that put it aside. Let's see what are some of the major problems. I know agriculture is very important, but now the question I go to you, because you talk about agriculture that is very important in every country. Okay, there are some countries that I live in, right? Let me just give a short example of South Korea. The agricultural sector in that country, government is not 100% involved in it. You see people within the private sector involved in the agricultural issues. Those politicians will not say, okay, let me become president before we try to strengthen the agricultural areas in our country. Mr. Moniba, who has served in the government before, well-educated guy. Don't you think it is a good thing for he to forget about the whole president thing, the money he wants spent to support his own campaign? Because we know that Moniba will not even go. He might go too close, but trust me, he will be very far. Why don't you think he could use that money with his foundation and be able to try to boost our economy through agriculture? And then Moniba tomorrow can be one of the best agriculturists in our country. And people say, oh yeah, that man was able to provide about thousands of people jobs. But he want to become president first before that come on the table? Are you killing me?
Okay.
With all of the expertise that he had, my brother, what the man won't gonna spend money for election? Well, he will go nowhere. Use that money, at least use that money within the agricultural area. With all of the connection that he have, he can go out there and get investors. And they can come and do business together. That would be a great help to the Liberian people. At least from that step now, some of us who on the platform that will be able to recommend tomorrow to the Liberian people. Yeah, but there's a man who had 500 acres of farmland that he producing rice, he producing cassava and XYZ and blah, blah, blah. Then the Zobo that I want to speak that you want to help now, you can employ these guys on those farms and try to get them at least $75 per month, $100 per month. That is a great investment. Why the man won't spend money? Young men like myself. Why you won't spend money on election?
AB, wait. AB, for the sake of your argument, among the 20 candidates, which one then get farm? Which one I'm producing? Which one I get
We
from?
not arguing on the candidate. We are arguing about your candidate right now. No, your candidate. You selling your candidate. You see that's one of the major problem for you guys. Instead of you coming to sell or protect your candidate, then you want to talk about the other people candidate. Leave those people alone. We're addressing.
No, AB. I'm speaking from your point. You saying that this man, a young man, he should take his money to go do agriculture, right? I mean, I will address it. I will address it.
It will be a great help to him, also help for you.
Listen. I will address it. I will address it to the point of Korea you made reference to. Do you know why Korea is making progress in agriculture? Do you know why all the countries make progress? Why?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Yes.
Tell me.
You know why? Because the people themselves are involved into it. They ain't waiting for the government to tell them, say, oh yeah, let's do it. They themselves are involved into agriculture.
Stop right there. Read the Korean policy on agriculture. Read the Korean government policy on agriculture. Look, listen, I got to make a reference to you here. I said every society has 5 institutions. And politics is one of those institutions. And the politics has to do with government, depending on how government runs the country. That's how everything else flourishes and does better. Korean government policy makes individuals in Korea to invest into agriculture. The government system, read about it. Look, listen, we have done the research. There's no way if a government system doesn't encourage private sector investment, it will not work. So Moniba is not saying to me, I'm going to make farms the government, or we're going to ensure that we have policies and systems that will make farming to be productive. So one day, like I said to you, the lowest hanging fruit right now, just in the first 100 days or the first 2, 3, 4 months or 5 months, is to ensure that Liberian homegrown food are used to feed children in school, on the school feeding program. That gives direct support to agriculture. That's the lowest hanging fruit. The second thing the second impact will be now is low. Let's begin to do soil testing. Let's do soil testing of the rural region. Which region produces is good for producing rice? Then we begin to identify. Then we say, look, we have done our soil asset mapping. Now we set it out to the public, to the international communities. Look, our country has this kind of soil. It's good to produce rice. You can invest in rice. We have good weather. That's a problem, my brother. Our system gotta be. We gotta have a policy that will incorporate private sector activity. In Korea, government are making farm, but those are making farm there. They're making farm because the system of Korean government is the one that's influencing them to do farming.
That's Mr. That's
Korean
Mr.
government are making farm. Korean government have the farm, but the individual themselves are involved into farming activities in our country.
Because the government system
people work in government, and then after they leave government, the next thing you see them on the farm.
So, gentlemen, it is 10:35. It is 10:35 p.m. here. It's 10:35 p.m. here in South Korea, and I'm sure it is it is 1:35 p.m. in Liberia. So it has been fiery, gentlemen. Let me say, let's take a break. Let's try to wet our throat because it is getting heated and this. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Gentlemen, let me just announce to you that I'm due to some technical problem. Our viewership have been suppressed, but how be it, we are still moving. We are not giving up, and we are definitely going to overcome this problem. But Mr. Ndebe, trust me, you are firing from all cylinders, and we'll be right back right after this break.
Let me see my wife. Let me see my daughter. If I make any crime in country, Liberia, please punish me. I not a problem. But I know why I'm coming there. I am coming there to expose Jetty properly. And Jetty, this is I'm telling you live. If you are man, just allow me in Liberia. Let you see me on the same media platform, and I will expose you properly how much money you eat from Liberia people. I will expose you.
So somebody is asking on the live, did you bribe to get the Liberian visa to the Liberian embassy in Sierra Leone? Or you want to show us your receipts, your payments?
I can show you that.
How much did you pay for the visa?
$80, $130, $80, and they give me proper receipt.
So show the receipts on the television.
Yes,
so
I can.
Let's see your receipt. Because people want to see. Because those are
the
people
only $130 they charge me. They didn't ask me any $1.
Okay, so for those of you watching here, is it? He paid to the Liberian embassy in Sierra Leone, and he got the visa.
$130 official money.
His official visa that was cancelled here at the Liberian border, 7 water side. There's a live coverage on Voice.
The woman who give me visa, and I number also there.
Yeah.
So the woman who give me visa, she not ask anything. I just go, she asked me where you will stay. I said, there I will stay.
Another question to you, Manoj, you just need to cool yourself because I know you're now stressful. I saw a video where you was in a video where the president was saying thank you to what you people did for the church.
Yes.
What have you to say to the president? Because at times these things are happening, the president and other people in government might not be in the know.
That's I know.
Can you say something to the president?
I believe, Mr. President, I know you are a very good friend for me. But please, through a Voice of Liberia, please see what thing is going on with your friend. The same friend who you give thanks in your church. You tell me that, my friend, thank you what you are doing on behalf of Indian community. I, your friend, I'm standing here and I want to see my wife and daughter. Please do not believe Jetty. Jetty.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make you see. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia.
Welcome back.
Man, once that in that video, I can want to share tears, man. Yeah, look at the kind of country we have. A man being deprived of seeing his family simply because of some corrupt issues, my brother. Look at that kind of a story. And of the president, I don't know if one of the Liberian government ever invited that guy or even tried to get hold of him. Listen to that kind of a story. How sorrowful it is.
Yeah, we'll get
somebody you want to accuse me of a crime.
Let's just keep on track. Let's just keep on track, man. Let's just keep on track.
Yeah, man.
So welcome back. Yeah, welcome back, Diaspora Talk.
You coming in broken, Gabriel, or is it from my side?
Talk. This is where we discuss issue unbiasedly. We have Mr. Johnny K.M Ndebe from LINU. LINU is the political party of Mr. Clarence K, Moniba, and he's here giving outlining the competitive edge of his presidential candidate, stating to us why he is the most preferred person to become president of Liberia. So now we would like to turn out to our brother, Mr. Abraham T. Massacre, to ask our question, and to ask Mr. Ndebe some questions.
Thank you, Gabriel. Yes. Okay. Welcome back. I know we had a little heated first half. Mr. Ndebe, welcome back. You know, I asked the question to you about drugs and corruption. You kind of brush around it a little bit, but I mean.
Oh, I can come back to it. Sorry, I'll come back to it.
For you guys who are in the corridors of Dr. Clarence Massacre, I mean Dr. Clarence Mova, excuse me. You talked about him having classes for maybe 20 Zogos and trying to educate them or educating the schools, which is not bad. But my question was directly to solve that is, why are we even allowing drugs into the country? You did not address that. You only talked about going to have classes and and you know, for a few guys who are on the streets, and comparing Liberia to other Western countries. I'll be honest with you, drugs is done everywhere, but on a low scale. It's very, very strong when it comes to how they address drugs. Unfortunately for Liberia, we cannot have laws on the books that is strong for people who import drugs. Like we just said, we just had a huge drug trafficking recently, and look how that case went, and how it reflected on the government, how it reflected on the country. And all of those drugs affects the youth, the young people. And as a country, as a serious country, our young people are the ones we're supposed to look out for, because these are the future of the country. So if you guys who are close to Dr. Moniba cannot really talk about how can we address, I'm not saying he's going to eliminate drugs completely from Liberia, but I'll be honest with you, it's on a very high scale to the point that it's concerning. It's highly concerning. What are some of the plans, if not writing bills to submit to the House on how they can tackle drugs in terms of what solve this problem, what are punishment, what are ways that we can make it so difficult that people who try to do something like that can be punished for it, and not just come and bring drugs in the country, bribe the government, the young people suffer, the country is going disarray, the streets are filled with young people who are supposed to be learning something but sitting doing drugs. How you guys really plan to tackle this issue if Dr. Moniba was to win the presidency? Thank you.
So thank you, Mas. So let me take my time. I said it. I didn't say that Dr. Moniba is having class for Zogos. No, I said as a first approach. You know, in setting goals, doing development work, you look for the first access to opportunities that you can begin to address the problem. So the problem is already established. It's known already that drug is a problem. Young people are on the problem. So what we are looking at is we have a population of young teenagers that are not yet on drug. So I said to you, there is a lady who has organized a vacation school during this vacation to begin to train and educate young people that are out of school now on vacation, to go to begin to learn about the dangers of drugs. So what we're doing right now, we are supporting this program by making sure that every class of 20, that the Moniba pays for 20% to go there, young people under 10, 11, 13, 14, 15 years old who are not yet on drug. So begin to educate the danger. So we can start doing that's the approach to prevent those young people from first going towards drug. That's one, prevention. The next thing now is to address the issue of those that are on drug. And the third thing is to stop the importation of drugs to this country. As a TV phase looking at the prevention now, and then to take those that are on it away from the drug, and to make sure we have stringent measures that will prevent and stop drug from coming into this country. So first thing is, let's go back to prevention now, right? Prevention is those that are not on drug now, we got to make sure that during the vacation, we're doing that as a part of it. If Moniba wins the election, the first thing is go into educational curriculum to ensure that all schools, whether private or public, must have a course to teach young people about the danger of drugs. That's prevention. Then the next thing now is those that are on drugs, we're going to start to collect them from the streets and have a national assembly place for them where they will be kept, taken out of drugs, not taken out of drugs, send them back. Our approach is they will be deflushed from the drug, but then they're going to be trained into quality citizens that will contribute to the growth of the country. So as they graduate from that rehab program, they will come back to society as good citizens to make contribution. Not going to say that, like what they had the DDR program. People were disarmed. The program was just a failure. Somebody went to 3 weeks, so 6 weeks training, getting 2 skills. After 1 week, the children go say the 2 skills because they had no opportunity to put their skills to use. So that the Moniba is going to be having rehab program, but at the same time, creating the opportunities that as soon as you graduate from that rehab program, you have a place to go and start making contribution to the building of Liberia. If it is through agriculture, if it is through road construction, if it is through masonry, if it is through carpentry, tailoring, whatever. But Moniba program is don't just go and be trained and cancel and no. As you are training, we are opening opportunities for you. How is it difficult to have a textile program? We have a big industry where people are sewing clothes, tailoring is going on. So our vision is not to do what has been happening all these years. Go to school, graduate, no job. no job. So we want to create conditions. So as we get them off the drug, they come right into business of making income, making their own income. That's the second phase. The last phase now is to bring on measures to firstly, we have laws in this country. We have very good laws in Liberia. Our challenge is the enforcement and the implementation of these laws to the letter. And that the Moniba concern is we must enforce the law that we have now. Then as we enforce those laws and we see leakages on it, we repair those leakages, but we must enforce the law to ensure that drug is considered as a public enemy. So, I mean, we are so surprised that the government will have people arrested with huge quantity of drug, and you have no evidence to prosecute the case, and the people are set free. I mean, that's not going to happen in Moniba case. Seriously. So I hope I answered the question you asked about drug. Now, the second thing is corruption. That the Moniba served in any regime, he was never accused of corruption. He never accused anyone of corruption because his work was not to conduct audit. So he did not accuse anyone of corruption because he wasn't working in the area of conducting audit to see what conducted corruption. His part was wherever he was assigned to work, he worked there diligently with integrity, with honesty, and dignity. That's why he said the day he declared I want to contest presidency, he asked the current government, even those from anywhere, to please go and audit everywhere he worked for the Liberian government under Manasseh government. So in our regime, we are going to ensure that the GAC, the Ministry of Justice, the LACC will be empowered fully. That every investigation done by GAC, any audit done by GAC, LACC will be given that freedom to conduct investigation and prosecute people. And if you are prosecuted and found guilty, whatever ruling comes from the court will be enforced to the letter. That's clear.
Thank you.
That's clear.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndebe. And Timas, does that answer your question? Okay. So, Mr. Ndebe, you know,
may not answer any question here, but I mean, explain it. But
it's not like he has to answer. It's just we want to know what they are thinking in terms of
man, a regular man,
that way.
On the issue of corruption, he kind of brushed around it a little.
No, but I spoke about it.
Yeah, but I can come in already, Gabriel. I think I got something on.
I have to ask my question, and then I come to you.
Okay, no problem.
He kind of brushed around corruption a little bit, but I thought I would have heard something in depth than that. But we can move on.
Okay, but look, and wait, 1 minute, and I beg you, Gabriel, let me respond quickly. Part of what that the Moniba wants to ensure is that just upon taking over office, everyone that will be appointed by his government into public office must do public declaration of what they have, what we call asset declaration, must do it. He himself, for a matter of fact, I'm sure by in August, before even the campaign gets heated, before even the election date, before election, he is going to declare to the Liberian people what he has as asset. And so he's also going to insist on, if he wins the election, anyone that he will be nominating to any position, that person, before being formally appointed, will have to declare to Liberian people what he or she has. And he also
he did it during Ellington. He did it during Ellington.
Well, I can't record that. I don't want to lie to anybody. I can't record that because during Ellington, I can't tell much. And it also depended on the government. If Eddie had requested it, of course he's going to do it. So
she's able to request it before you do it, or he's able to do the honorable thing.
Listen, now the honorable thing is to declare, right? I'm saying, listen, please. I'm saying I don't know if he did at that time. I will find out from him if he did. I don't want to mislead the public because
I'm not anything to find out from your kid and then you come out. We got
no. Maybe way small. Maybe that the Moniba does not want to lie to Liberians. So I here will not be here to lie to Liberians. What I don't know about, I will not say it. When he was serving in the government, Madam Salif, I didn't know much about what happened in the government with him, Madam Salif. So I wouldn't say he declared, he did not declare. But I'm just saying, if Madam Salif had requested that all her cabinet ministers declare their asset, I'm sure he did it or he would have done it. So what he is saying to us in Liberians is that during his regime as president, he will insist on every person that he will appoint in government to declare their asset. And that will be done on a quarterly basis. Meaning every 3 months, you will tell us what have you gotten in addition to what you got before declaring. That is one thing you want to do about. And the third part is that he will be insisting on giving much support to the GAC, to LACC, Ministry of Justice, to ensure on conducting audits, investigation, and prosecution. And whatever comes out of
Thank
the
you.
court, we will be enforcing that as a mandate from him as a president.
Thank you so much. That's Mr. David F. from LINU. So my question to you now is, it's often said that the legacy we leave for ours, or the way we live our life, the legacy we set can either transform the future of our children, it can actually help them, or it can sabotage their success. Let's take, for example, the way Ellen Johnson said he left the government, I'm very sure that Raul said he cannot even run for, a chairmanship now in the country for him to win. He cannot. And the way this man, President Weah, is leading the country right now, I'm not sure any of his Liberian children will actually want to run to become president and win, because right now, you look at the country, the corrupt attitude, the waywardness, the unaccountability. So right now, the name Weah or George Weah is becoming like a taboo. So I would like to say, I know you were, by the time you were already mature during the vice, because your Kennedy's father was a vice president from 1984 to 1990. That's 1 year, almost 6 years. Mr. Harry Moniba served for. He was the 26th vice president of Liberia. I want to ask, what are some of the legacy that, your candidate can really rely on from a father that we can actually say yes, based on his father's legacy, based on the leadership of his father, or based on the leadership skills of his father, he can do better? What are some of the things we can really rely on? And I know you were very mature back then, and you have been working within government cycle. And I know when Harry Moniba was around in government, I think you can account for some of the things he did. So what are some of the things we can really point out to that Harry Moniba did that we can say, oh yes, it is somehow hereditary, or it is somehow within the gene of the family? What are some of the things?
So, when Dr. Harry, former Moniba, was vice president from 1984 to 1990, I was in high school. I was a young boy. I was a young man going to school in high school. Well, I can clearly say, for a matter of fact, some of the things that are giving us support in fact in this political sojourn is the legacy of Dr. Moniba, Clarence Moniba's father. Almost everywhere we've gone, people are saying, oh, the Harry Moniba's son, oh yeah, that man was good. That man did this for us in the community. So actually, he's actually making progress on his father's legacy than even himself right now. She was speaking to you. Then I even in Lofa, in Morovia, in Nima. The last time he and I was in Nima together. Some of the elder people that came around, they came to see him because some of them came, they were even appreciating him for what their father did for some of them in Nima. There's an old man, I can't forget his name. Old man said it was Harry Moniba who did something for their community, to have some benefit from government. Something he said that day, And so I want to say clearly that Dr. Moniba, the father of Clarence K. Moniba, the former vice president and late vice president, President Doe, his legacy is so strong to the point that even right now in Grand Jide County, the last time, I was speaking to some young people from Grand Jide, and I was trying to talk to them about Moniba. I showed the guy the flyer, and he said, Johnny, this man is giving us hard time in Grand Jide. I said, what man? He said, the Moniba man. I said, like, how? He said, because the people of Grand Jide are saying that his father was good to them, and the way he worked with President Doe, they will really support him to make sure that they pay him back for what his father did for them in Grand Jide. And Clarence Moniba had not gone to Grand Jide to stay there for even a week or two yet. So this guy was telling me that in Grand Jide now, the new Moniba is surfacing, even to the point that he thinks that it is challenging President Weah's popularity in Grand Jide. And the guy told me in Grand Jide now, Clarence Moniba and Councillor Gonglo are the ones that are really making headway in Grand Jide, as opposed to even the current regime and Omen Boakai. Just to say that the legacy of Dr. Harry Moniba is actually helping Dr. Clarence K. Moniba into this political sojourn. Seriously.
So we all know that the PRC government, one way or the other, it was somewhat nepotistic, tribalistic, and attacking people, especially when they started looking for the elites like the Congo. Can we attach some of those things to him because he's serving the government? Was he guilty of any of those things? Did he advise President Doe, or he just sat there and just watched it going on?
No.
I'm talking about.
I mean, Harry Moniba serving as vice president was way after the coup had taken place. It wasn't part of the coup. If I Harry Moniba was in London. President Tobo had him assigned London as part of the embassy in London. You understand? So Harry Moniba was invited in 1984 by President Doe to be his vice presidential candidate. So the coup of 1980 to 1984, 85, no, Doe was, Moniba was out. Moniba came into the government during the election of 1985. So he actually joined Doe in 1984. So what happened from 1980 to 1984, he wasn't around. He was out of the country. So he cannot take account for that. I think if he would take account for that, he would take account from 1985 after the election that he and Doe won up to 1980 up to 1990 when the war removed the government from office.
Okay, thank you so much. Then we go to
and one more point. If you can recall, there's a video on YouTube. You know, when 1985 coup took place, and he was arrested from his house because he places in on the Ndebe road there. There were the army that took over the coup 1985 arrested him. And I was a child, but I saw him on television at ERBC when they were talking to ERBC. And he made that statement. They were asking him, what do you think about the thing that happened? If Harry Moniba was a man of trouble or a man of deceit, his statement there would have undermined his record today. Moniba told the journalist, he said, Liberia is a small country. Liberia is a small country. There's no need for these kind of things. It's good for us to sit around the table and discuss our issues as a people and solve our problem and move ahead. There's some people that will say, they told me I was advising him ever saying he didn't take my advice. But he didn't speak that way. He spoke as a citizen, as an eminent citizen, that this country is a small country with small tribes. It's important for us to always sit around the table to discuss our differences and resolve the solution, resolve our problem, and move forward. If you look on YouTube, you might find that video of the Harry F. Moniba interview in 1985 when the coup took place and when they arrested him.
Thank you so much. So let's go to our Chairman Abraham Lincoln McKay, to ask this question.
Thanks again, Gabriel. Let me just say this. That's what when I listen to some of the discussion, it convinced me that politics had no relation to moral. And I always say this because there was a great politician who said this. Politics had no relation to moral. Our brother tried to sugarcoat almost everything, and this is the same reason that Liberian people today have problems with that of Joseph Imam Bouaka, where he said that we squander a lot of opportunity. So people are saying that if you knew all of those things were going in the government, why didn't you back up? Why didn't you resign? So it's one of the major stigma that Joseph Bouaka has right now is with the statement that was made by him talking about squandering a lot of opportunities. The late father of your candidate served in the Doe government, and we all understand where the Doe government were leading to over the period of time, which of course were not very healthy for our country. As a man of integrity, it was going to be very simple for you to walk away, resign. It's not a crime to resign. And like I also say, Ellen government have been one of the most corrupt government in our country. And this young man served all of the time, winding down with Ellen all of the period of time, and still could not walk away as an integrity outcome to say, okay, yes, because of what's going on. Even if it did not happen with the area he was working, but it was something that kept happening over and over again. I think we all can admit with this man, this presidential candidate, Tarangongo, I think he also resigned based on similar things that were going on within the Ellen government. But then Dr. Moniba, he wanted down with Ellen up to the period of time. He did not walk away. But here's a statement that I want to make. When I hear you guys talking about disadvantaged brother, you're going to carry them, make sure they are jobs free and then create job for them and blah, blah, blah. All of those things in our rhetoric. I think I will advise you guys to go on the drawing table with our sister of coffee. I'm being frank because all the things that we tie here.
You're not serious. You are not serious. Why I'm sitting here? No one
My brother, all those things are rhetoric. Forget that thing. Forget about that sweet thought there. Let me just make you to understand one thing.
Do you have a question? Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
No, I mean, it's not a question. I'm making a statement, Gabriel. I'm supposed to ask the man a question because man, I don't want to get no rhetoric, brother. Forget all that sweet thought there. Don't think for the people then way in look at two and act like they don't know talking and faith. You can't face them all. My honest advances to you guys is this. You see this guy cut coffee with Jojo? You see how that guy is pushing? I think your candidate could be your best man to ride around that girl and see how best they can push the thing. And trust me, you see what I get doing now? The day I get decide to run a representative as a representative candidate in any era down there, my brother, there will be no argument because people already seeing the work she's doing. She's not working in government. She go from ghetto to ghetto, getting those guys and interviewing and doing a live broadcast with them. And then she also had a how you call it, a home that she take them to. They got a medical practitioner there. They will test them, and I think they spend 1 or 2 or 3 months there. Then before she can try her best to find and suit them in society. We should start seeing this thing now from your candidate. Don't wait for Liberian people to give you power to start using our own money on what then you walk out boards and say, oh, no. Start the process now. Start it now. Don't wait to get in the seat. That is my major problem. Don't wait to get there. Start it right now. Let us see the trademark. That's what will convince us. We didn't see no trademark during the time you're working with Ellen Johnson said it. You work for her. So you convinced her that you are the best, but you didn't convince the Liberian people what best you can do. So that's my honest advice. Let him start it right now.
Mr. Ndebe, did you take anything from his deliberation that you would like to address?
I think AB just trying to express his thoughts about what the situation is, and it is his right to think the way he want to think. I cannot do anything with his way he want to think, but I'm just saying to him, the way you are thinking about Liberia, I don't think you want Liberia to make progress, because we will make progress in the country if we listen to people and understand what they mean. If you are listening to what I've been saying here, I have spoken in the very simple form. And what I've said here about what the Moniba intend to do in this country, I think that you've never heard from any of the candidates speaking to Liberian people about what they will do. We are very practical and pragmatic in what we say. And what we say are simple things that can be done. They are doable. If I just know, now we know, and no disrespect to you, to know your background, AB, what did you study? Or what's your profession? Because sometimes your professional background will inform you about what somebody is saying and how you can contribute to what the conversation. You understand? Because like I said here, I'm a social scientist. I did sociology and demography, and I also did regional planning, regional science. So I speak with facts based on theoretical concepts. So if you want to say something here to me about this is rhetoric, how are these things rhetoric? Are they not real to you? Don't they sound reasonable to you? Don't they sound
how
doable?
they real when we're not seeing no implementation tools? How are they real? What are the implementation tools that we see on the drawing board that will convince us? One thing you understand that I always tell people, right? Education does not prove how intelligent you are, and it does not prove your deliberation.
AB, I also made a point. I always told you about society. I want you to grab the concept of what society is. We have 5 institutions in society. One of them that is responsible for the good of society is politics. So if you don't have good people in governance system, it will be difficult to have society surviving. So that is what the Moniba is saying. Even if he got money to open homes around for all these Zogos, the problem is not solved if it is not addressed at the national level. Because the state is responsible for the well-being of Liberian people. Take your Liberian Constitution and read from Article 1 to Article 3. Then you know why Liberian government. Then you know why we form government.
Okay. You understand, my brother? You so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndebe. So, gentlemen, we are time pressed, and we'll like if you're out there and listening, you want to call, the WhatsApp number is +82.
No, Jojo, that's my own sister. She must say
90.
Leave Jojo alone, man.
If you want to call from the US, the number is there. So, gentlemen, we'll just go across the board and ask one question each. Then we can just let our guests to go. We can keep you on here throughout. So, Mr. Masakwe, you have been listening to Mr. Ndebe.
Yeah, my man, start with me, man. Me, I'm a question, man.
Oh, I thought you kept on talking, bro. The time. Okay. Yeah, we'll go around. We'll get around. Just trust me. We'll get to you.
No. Go ahead, Dimas. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you listen to Mr. Ndebe. He has been so defensive, so firm. I mean, standing his ground. I mean, why else do you have to stay on him?
No, thank you, Gabriel. You know, my brother, Mr. Ndebe was saying, a lot of the things that he was saying about what Dr. Moniba intends to do is actually doable. Those are things that we think can happen if they intend to do it, like they said they want to do it. But my thing is, the political season comes with a lot of promises, and sometimes those promises are not kept. And I hope Dr. Moniba, who worked in a government that was highly criticized for corruption, even though the fact stands that he was never accused of corruption, that is fact, it's true. But the government he worked in was highly accused of rampant corruption that we all know about, including my brother Debbie over there. So, but I want you guys to understand that the only way Liberia can be a better place for everyone is to look at some of these major and critical issues, especially when it comes to corruption, comes to how we set up policy for our young people, the educational system, the health system. We look at agriculture. You know, one thing you mentioned, I will give a plus to you if that actually works. If Dr. Moniba wins the presidency, is where you talk about having a feeding program for our schools, but with the local, our local products, right, or crops, which is something that is very, very good because, to be honest, I sometimes think about that, like why we don't implement this in our school. We got potato, edibles, plantain, cassava. These are things you can cook in the morning at the schools and the kids can eat, or for lunch or for, what I mean? And those things I don't know why our people don't do it. But hearing that from you makes a lot of sense. I hope that works for our kids. And, moving forward, we can, maybe add up to it and do other stuff. But that will also empower agriculture because if the government or private schools can buy these crops from farmers to be able to cook in the school, it's basically, empowering the farmers now. They can make more money. They have, a source of income to be able to, create more products. So that's a good plan. I hope, again, those plans are implemented because during election, there are a lot of promises and sometimes those promises are not kept. But thank you so much, my brother Debbie. I enjoyed the deliberation. I think you guys are doing a great job. But I just want to admonish you that y'all got a lot of work to do because I don't think Dr. Moniba is well known as other candidates in the race.
Yes.
He's a guy that I read about. I follow him a little bit, and I'll be honest with you, I like him. I'm still following, not there yet, but I want to urge you guys to reach out to the Liberian people, let him really sell himself out to the country. And I think being a young man with the level of potential that he has, I see him as somebody who would do better if the opportunity is given. Thank you.
So, from my end, okay, you can just ask a question. Mr. Market, just ask your question.
Oh yeah, let me ask. I think I'll have a question, but let me make this statement.
That's the last question. Then because we.
Yeah, the thing is this, right? You see this girl Jojo. If Jojo were in a race, most of the presidential candidates, she would definitely defeat them because why? She already have a trademark, and I think our brother on here, who's our guest, he's aware of her trademark. The culture that we are from, or our culture back home, where it is, those who get around the people, who try to see the people problem, who sit to them, eat with them. are those people they realize at the end of the day. Education or eloquence, it does not prove your intelligence. So nobody should tell you that if somebody can speak Gio from Nima County or Crown or Global, it does not mean they are intelligent. You can have all of the degrees, you can have all of the best education, or you can be the well-spoken person. It does not prove you to be an intelligent person. Or it does not also prove you to be a better leader. So sometimes we base, our argument on education and, on eloquence and say, oh yeah, I mean, that's the culture we're from, right? When somebody come and start using the Queen language, we say, oh, the man are smart man, the man's intelligent. That's a big lie. If somebody come here, you see the president on the list, the CV, you see doctor degree, master, all of those things. Oh yeah, the man are smart man, the man educated man, the man's intelligent. That's a big lie. Those things, it does not count you to be a leader. It is true, it's very important because the world we live in now, you need all of those things in to be able to navigate your way through, to where you want to go. But still, it does not prove you to be a rightful leader. So I always tell people these things. We need people who love our country. We need people who are going to be there for the people. We need people who are going to sacrifice to push our country to the fullest. Dr. Moniba is a very young man. I admire him, well educated. I just want to encourage him and all of his people. This election, it is not meant for them. I think it will be very much important. They go back on the drawing table and look at all of the lapses and be able to write them down and come back 2029 and they will be very strong. So within the 6 years from now to 2029, they can use all of those time to tackle all of the lapses, getting involved with the people, the Zogos, or trying to create jobs on their own. Since they are more focused on agriculture, try to engage in that. Something like 2 acres of farmland, let's see some production for them. Miss Dr. Moniba, he have international connection. Let him try to bring some investor to our country to help give our brothers and sisters jobs. Because like I was telling my brother here, all those sweet things that you explain, we still cannot see the implementation tools. So the 6 years from now to 2029, Dr. Moniba can try to create a company in our country where when he take the Zogo from the street, at least they will have somewhere to have job doing for themselves. They don't have to depend on government. What I was talking about the agriculture area in Korea, you see you go to Korea, you see you don't see young people into agriculture. You see old folks into agriculture. You see old folks. You don't see young guys and you myself actually the older ones. The moment they leave just someone when they retire or someone retire working to go early retirement, they buy the trucks, get their farmland and start doing their own agriculture, start doing their own thing. The people themselves get involved. They're not waiting for government to do it for them. They themselves get involved. Okay. So we are very sad. It is true we know the government had to support us, but we had to start encouraging our very self to get involved. I remember those days in Liberia where I used to live at the back of my family house. I had my bee land that I used to play my leg grumpy, my leg potato green, and cassava. I'm being very frank. It came up to my mother never went to the market to buy potato green. Every time we take it from right to the backyard. We have to get ourselves involved. If you wait on government for everything, trust me, the government can never solve the problem in our country. That's why you see in Western world, everyone all that live here, we're not doing government job. Everybody working with corporate here. So if you wait on the government to say the government will solve the problem, trust me, then we'll be going, no, we ourselves have to get involved. So that's why we need to encourage the Liberian people. But your leader too many the government position will not solve our problem in our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mackey. That's our chairman, Mr. Abraham Lincoln Mackey from Canada. So, Mr. Ndebe, let me just ask you this, then we can try to close up. I mean, your candidate. I'm sorry if I'm trying to troublize this, but your candidate is from Lofa County, right? And we know all of you Lofian are like uncles and this and that. Is he looking up to supporting his yeah? And is Clarence Moniba looking up to support his uncle in the second round? That is, if Clarence doesn't make it to the second round and Joseph Newman Parker make it to the second round, will he root out for his uncle, Joe? Is that something he's looking up to? Or he's looking out for?
No, I mean, Gabriel, your voice was cracking, but I think you were trying to ask if second round comes with Joseph Boakai, what Moniba was supposed Boakai, right? The question you're asking.
It's an uncle, right?
Can you come back? Because I mean, your voice is cracking.
Are you getting me now? Are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you
gentlemen,
now.
Gentlemen, am I audible from?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Yeah, mostly when you listen to the Lofians, they will always call each other uncles, aunties, someone. I'm sorry if I tried to tribalize this, but so I'm asking if Clarence Moniba doesn't make it to the second round and his uncle Joe, that is Joseph Newman Boakai, goes to the second round, will he support him?
Okay.
I mean, no support uncle.
Yeah.
Can I speak now?
Yeah, go ahead. I think, I don't know, it should be from your end there.
Okay, so here's the point. You see, our first priority here is to put our commodity out to the public.
Man, his internet is bad. It's coming broken.
As the first priority. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we are getting you.
So I'm saying our foremost priority here is to campaign vigorously to win these elections. This is our foremost concern. But if it becomes it becomes a situation where we don't come second or don't come first in this election, and it ends all with Joseph Boakai and we are whatever, then the party as a party executive will sit, because I wouldn't stay there and say we'll do this. The party executive is comprised of people from all parts of Liberia, of the various counties. We will sit and look at the situation and say, look, here we are. What is our decision? What is our role now as a party in the second round? Saying we did not come first or did not come second. At that point, we will decide who to support as a group. Because Moniba, being the senior bearer of the party, does not have a decision to make to say we're doing this. We are to sit as an executive committee and discuss among ourselves and say, okay, this is where we are. Looking at all of the situation, who can we go to? Probably we may even come to a point where we vote among ourselves, and the higher vote will decide that we go this way or that way. So I wouldn't stay there and tell you whether we're going to Boakai or go to Wia or whoever will be coming second and second. It will be a decision made by the executive committee of LINU. So that's the response to your question.
Thank you so much. So, Mr. Ndebe, this is how I would really like to thank you for coming on the show. I mean, it was a really fascinating discussion, and thank you. You really stood your ground, and this is what I would like to say. Liberia, that thing they call loyalty. There's no loyalty in Liberia. People are just seeking their own interests. So, if you are in government today, if you are a leader today, and you become corrupt, don't be surprised that most of the people you are working with would be the one to actually sell you out because they want to protect their own image, or they want to gain attention or proximity to the other people. So I think if Mr. Clarence Moniba was actually corrupt by now, we would have heard it. Then by now it would have been in the public. So this is how I would like to conclude from my end. And I would like to thank you for actually listening to our call and coming to our invite. And I would like you to conclude from your end, then we can call a date for today's edition.
All right. So thank you very much for this show. Let me appreciate the four of you for having this show organized. This is the value of having young, vibrant Liberians. You see the generation of Liberians, all of the four of you here are all part of this generation. You understand? And this makes me proud that young people like you guys, even though you are in the diaspora, you have a concern about your nation, your state, and that's why you have the platform so that your voices can be heard and other people can use the platform to make their voices heard and contribute to the national discourse of Liberia. I really appreciate you guys. That's why, again, I'll come out to say, in this generation of all of you and myself, we have to decide who becomes our leader. And that leader must come from within our own generation. I will take you back. If you read the history of America, all the American presidents, except for the last 3 or 4, maybe the oldest president America ever had is probably Joe Biden and Tony and Donald Trump, and maybe like Ronald Reagan. Besides them, everybody else who led America were in their early 60s, late 60s, and majority were in their 50s and 40s. And if you read American history, that's when American people made real progress in their country. So this generation, that Moniba is your candidate. He's not an injured, but he's prepared to work with everybody to bring Liberia up to the greatest height that we all wanted to be at. Now, you were talking about South Korea, and all of you there, you are making progress in those countries because of policy. So I come back to my brother AB. If the government has no good policy for system, no one will make progress. You see, the European countries are making progress in agriculture, in other aspects. It's because of the government policy, my brother. If South Korea have bad policy of agriculture, people have a farm because their produce got to go on the market. And what made the produce go on the market is their policy, their trade policy, their international trade policy. That's why South Korea is making progress in agriculture in other aspects. So the bottom line is, if you don't have a government that will bring to governance a policy that will improve agriculture, education, health, security, and everything else, my brother, you will not make progress. So you are making progress in Canada, in South Korea, in everywhere else you are, because those governments in those countries, policy is why you are there. Even if the fact that you are there to go and live there and work there, that their policy make you work there and live and work there. If they didn't have policy that will accommodate you, you will not go there to live and work there. So bottom line is, policy makes things work. Let me come to Jojo. Jojo is my own sister. Jojo, where I am talking with you now,
But I'm sure he'll be back to actually conclude. But gentlemen, it was really fascinating. I think Mr. Ndebe really held his ground, and he really, really fought. So, Timas, I mean, we got a man. Let me just conclude one time.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, Jojo is just maybe like a few meters away from me. Jojo is my own sister, but Jojo is having difficulties doing that process because the policy of government on rehab. Because like Jojo now, some incentives. We have some incentives to elevate that program. Jojo is struggling. She's my own sister. She's not far from me right now.
But she needs that Moniba help because both of them got the same dream.
Exactly. Listen, exactly. So, but
you don't have to be president before you help her.
For myself, listen, AB, the fact that you just mentioned Jojo's name, I found myself guilty because I would have long time brought Jojo in contact with Dr. Moniba because I know Jojo very well.
Exactly. You see what the discussion bring us to now. So at least tomorrow night you can call her and try to,
you just reminded me. You just reminded me that in line with our approach to address the drug issue, I'm going to today meet with Dr. Moniba. We'll visit Jojo ground. I know Jojo very well. Jojo, my sister, we'll visit her and see how in our private capacity we can provide support. But Jojo needs a system, a policy that will move that program forward. It cannot. She won't succeed the way she wanted, except there's a policy that will be in place that will support her program. So I'm telling my brother, overall burden here is that we gotta have a governance system that will have policies that will address all the issues that we all want to be addressed. So thank you. Like I said, all of you belong to the generation. I'm taking your advice. That's what the Moniba is. We're not arrogant. We don't know everything. We want to make ourselves available for leadership so that all of you can come and contribute towards what we want to do to build this country. We need you. We need Master Kwai. We need Gabriel. We need AB. We need everybody else. So I want to caution 3 of you. Please join our team to canvas for us overseas. Help us to get more support. Come and let's form the team of Dr. Moniba. It's not about him. It's about this generation succeeding in making sure that Liberia is better off going forward. So let me say thank you again, and I hope that I'm always welcome on your show. Once there's better internet, I will be available to get involved with your conversation. Thank you so much, and I appreciate all of you. That's my number online. That's my WhatsApp number online. You can WhatsApp me, share with me any idea you want to share with me. I will share with the Moniba, and we will include it into our national agenda. This government is about all of us. No rhetoric in here, my brother. No sweet talk for all business.
Yeah, I think, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndebe. It was nice having you.
Somebody who
And
got
try
a
to have
doctor
a
degree in
try to have a
rhetoric. They
good
ain't say
time.
no
Thank you
rhetoric,
so
but it
much.
can be out. You can't rule it out. It's part of
Thank you so much. Thank you
but
so much,
nice
Mr.
having you,
Ndebe.
man. Trust me.
It was nice having you. It was nice having you.
Yeah, we had a
Thank you
good
so
time.
much. We had a great time, and we look forward to seeing you here another time. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, I mean, this is how I would like to conclude. So, this is how I would like to conclude this broadcast on the 23rd edition of the Diaspora Talk. So, Timas, what you took from, I mean, articulation, let's just try to round up from your end and also go to.
Yeah, well, like,
go
you
to
know, like
AB
every, you know, body coming on the show.
Let me ask you: did he appear genuine to you? I mean, very realistic and
Well,
not to get polished.
In some aspect,
Yeah, but give our guest off the screen and then we do our discussion. I think he's still.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like you were saying, in some aspect, I think he was genuine. In some of them, he tried to brush around it. So that was clear. But I mean, he did his best in terms of how he felt he wanted to defend his candidate. And I respect that. You know, everybody coming on here will do the same, say everything good about the candidate and how best prop them up. But again, you know, like my brother Lincoln always said, it's all about the Liberian people. This is why we are here. So we want genuine people. We want people who come up here and wants to do good for the people. You know, it's not about individual; it's about the masses. And for young people to step up to leadership is something for me I always admire, and I want to see happen in Liberia. But I think it's important that they step up with a good intent. That is doing what best for our people and what policy that they can, you know, create that will give our people a good living condition. Because when you look back in our country and look at one of the oldest African country to still be in this stage of, you know, where our country is now is highly alarming and concerning. So it is a great thing for young people to step up, but I mean, the rhetorics and the promises not being kept is something you know almost everybody tired with. So Dr. Moniba is somebody that I've been following slowly. I kind of you know I like some of his policy. I like his you know his output and having some information about him. I know he's not going to maybe do a lot in this election, but hopefully in the future he might step up if the Liberian people see it fit for him to. Because it don't matter what kind of qualification you have or what experience you have, it is the people that you know make the decision. So again, it was a nice show. We had a great time, but he did well defending his candidate. But yeah,
he actually did
then next Sunday we'll be here again, Gabriel. But thank you for hosting the show. It was a great one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So, Mr. Mackey, I think you listen to Mr. Ndebe. You try to push into the wall. I mean, you try to be somehow very, very much, yeah, pressing on him. But I mean, he stood his ground. You are so firm and try to tell you that a candidate is the best person to lead your country, Liberia. I mean, did you get anything genuine and authentic from him? Did he come across as a very transparent person that you can believe and you trust your country in his hand?
You know, one thing, right, Gabriel, one of the things that I admire was the civil conversation we had. And then some of the other guys who want to be recalcitrant, right? Whenever, understand that Liberia is for every one of us. So I don't have to come in account, sugarcoat anything for your candidate. I'm here to talk for the Liberian people. So if I say something that I know that you may not be happy with by your candidate, it left for you to be able to justify who your candidate is, right? So like I said, he was being very civil, and I think we had a friendly conversation, which of course I admire, and that's how it should be. If somebody say your candidate was a criminal, convince the president that Ken not criminal. So if somebody say Ken not criminal, don't come and be insulting them or using some funny words or feel offended. So that's some of the issues. Some people don't know how to defend the candidate. So if somebody say Ken was a criminal, oh my man, my candidate is not a criminal. This guy is like, you know, he have a clean sheet and as well, he convince the public. There's a time to convince the people about your candidate. So he's a very, I mean, he seems to be very honest, but trust me, until the time reaches, then we'll get to know more. But I admire, you know, our discussion and with the recommendation that I made, like you said, we'll try to reach out to Jojo. That would be a very fine thing. Like I said, Gabriel, you can bear me witness. If did I get decided to be a representative candidate, brother, there'll be no question. Liberian in the diaspora will support her both in the diaspora and back home because people seeing the work she's doing. So those are things we want to see from our leader. Then we can be convinced. Because if you not in government, you're doing that kind of a thing. Trust me, when you're there tomorrow, what will you do? You will do more. Sure. So it is encouraging. And that's why I want most of our politicians to get themselves involved into it, because that's how the people will know you. The day Jojo won't be president tomorrow, who not know her? Even the men in the ghetto know her. But all of the other 20 plus presidents again, who know them? You must have given won't even know someone than me. But Jojo is a household name within the Liberian community. Both whom are away. So how will your people get to know you when you're not getting yourself involved? The people for the too many diplomat issues. Get down to the people, meet them, work with them, create jobs. It don't have to be a job that will employ about thousands of people. Create job at least out of the first 10, 15, and the number will start growing up. That people get to know you more. That the Moniba people doesn't really know. I mean, people don't know him that much. So maybe the radio program that you keep going on, and then also to trying to lay on his father's legacy, I think is why I put him out there. But let him push himself. Forget about the Pape, my man. Pape day, Pape gone. May so rest in peace. Push yourself. Let the people know you for you. Yeah, don't ride on the Pape glory, Baba. I beg you. Ride on your own glory. It's time now for you to push the very self. But we had a wonderful time today, gentlemen. Looking up, you know, next week to have another beautiful one. Trust me, it was so tiring this morning to wake up, Gabriel, because we celebrated the 26th yesterday, and yeah, you know, we spent late hours out there. So this morning, you know, this is what we like doing, right? So I had to make it, you know. Yeah, up to me, you know, to come on.
I make sure you brought the end of our vacation, my man. I call you out.
You know?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but we have a wonderful time, man. We have a wonderful time.
It was a real fascinating discussion, like you guys said. Mr. Ndebe, I mean, he's very persuasive. Even I got in contact with him from Spoon TV, and I just felt that, I mean, he's someone that we could actually listen to. I mean, he's very much persuasive, emotionally intelligent. He's someone who's very hard to just, I mean, blow out and get angry. And I think that's a good something. So again, like you stated, brother, the people want practicality. They want implementation. I mean, politicians are mostly theoretical. You know, they are more theoretical. They are more policy driven. We have the other policy. We have this on paper. So like you stated, take it from the paper, carry it in the community, and implement it. And let the people see it. So like you stated, I'm not a fan of Musa ability, right? I'm not a fan of Musa ability because of his checkered reputation and his checkered past. But again, even when Musa ability, but look at what he's doing in the district that he wants to run in. I mean, that man tried to connect one village to another village by building almost $500,000 bridge. Even if he became representative tomorrow and he didn't do anything for the people already benefited. The people already benefited because the people, when you elect them again, when they go in the house, the next thing they'll say, Mama, let you one can make it, you got to lobby with your friend. And I say, I was I've been lobbying. The people now want to agree with me, that will be their excuse. So do something. Do something that the people know that you really mean it. The coffee with Jojo, like you stated, she's already implementing. She has the passion. So definitely you can align with that girl so that tomorrow when she's trying to get, think of her benefactor, she can say, oh, or we receive so and so help from so and so people. That's when the people will know that you are actually, interested in that field. But again, Clarence Moniba, let me say, I mean, you have the potential. You are a very young man. You are well prepared. Keep trying, no matter where you reach in this election. And let's see how it's going to go in October. That's October 10, 2023. Gentlemen, this is how I would like to conclude it. I would like to conclude it from my end and hope to see you guys next week, Sunday. bye for now. Let's meet in the back and have our usual discussion.
Oh yeah, you got it right. You got it right.
Joanna do anything for me. Joanna take me go Paris. Joanna give me everything, baby. Joanna do anything for me. Joanna take me go Paris. Joanna give me everything, baby. Now when you put up in a rover, girl, you are sent by Jehovah, making me shout hallelujah, oh, baby. Now when you put up in a rover, girl, you are sent by Jehovah, making me sing hallelujah, oh, baby. Yeah, yeah. You, only you, baby. You, only you, baby. You,